Okay, I'm in the modules in Canvas right now, and at the top of section 3.2, there is a handout that you are going to need and that you can use on your test. It is a truth table handout, so make sure you click on that, download it, print it off so you've got it handy, okay? And I have opened it up and it looks like this. And it says Truth Table Handout for Exam 2, Chapter 3. Now, when we did section 3.2, we already covered conjunction and disjunction, and it's on this handout. I will tell you, though, that if you have to constantly look at these four boxes that are highlighted: conjunction in that yellowy color, disjunction in green, conditional in blue, and biconditional in orange. If you have to constantly look at these, it is going to take you so much longer to work through any truth table. So conditional and the conjunction and the disjunction, most of the time common sense tells people how to do those, because the word and means it has to be both. So, the only time you get a true, let's see if I can draw on this. The only time that you get a true is when you have two T's right here. Let me use a highlighter instead. Oh dear, let's see, this one's kind of a yellowy color. So when you have two trues, you'll get a true for an and. And then you can see that the rest of them are all falses. They're all falses. As long as you have one false, it'll be false. But then when you go to the disjunction, you'll have all trues if at least one of them is true, because it's an or. So it can be this or it can be that. And so now on this one, the only time you get a false is when they're both falses. And now I'm about to go through the conditional and the biconditional, and it's explained a little bit different. So let me switch back to here. There we go. Okay. And I need the first page. All right. So 3.3 is where we're at. It covers the conditional and the biconditional. Again, we're going to do truth tables for this. But the way they explain the conditional is a little differently. Okay. On a conditional, there is only one way that a conditional statement can be false. And remember, the conditionals are your if-thens. So what they do is they go through the four cases. And remember that the four cases are both statements are true. The first is true and the second is false. The first is false and the second is true, or they're both false. So they start with case number 1, which says that both statements are true. So that's this one here, true, true. And instead of using P's and Q's, they're using W's and B's, because the statement they're looking at is, if you work for me on Saturday, then I'll give you a $100 bonus. So the W is you work for me on Sunday. That does not want to highlight for some reason. Let me use this instead. You work for me on Sunday, then I will give you a $100 bonus, and that is B. Okay. On all of these, they're talking about it in perspective of the boss. The boss says, hey, if you come to work for me on Saturday, then I'll give you a $100 bonus. So case one is they're both true, meaning you came to work on Saturday. That was true. You did work for the guy on Saturday. And then he gave you a $100 bonus. That was true. He did give you the $100 bonus. So from the boss's perspective, he did not go back on his word. He gave you the $100 bonus. So that would be a truthful statement. So when it's if true, then true, the answer will be true. Okay, now this one says, if you work for me on Saturday, then I'll give you the $100 bonus. And now we are looking at condition number 2, case 2, which is when the first one is true and the second one is false. That is this one, true, false. So this is a situation where you went to work on Saturday. You went into work on Saturday, but B is false. The boss did not give you. You don't receive your bonus. So Mr. Gates, he went back, that's the boss, went back on his promise, so he made a false statement. He said, if you come to work for me on Saturday, then I'll give you a $100 bonus. You came in to work on Saturday, that's the true right here, but he did not give you the bonus, and that's a false. And that should make you mad. And so therefore, if true, then false would be the false. Okay, so now we go to the third situation, which is when W is false, but B is true. Okay, so that was this one. False, then true. So your boss is telling you you come to work on Saturday, but you didn't. You know, you were like, nah, I don't need that $100. You know, I'd rather relax on Saturday. So the first part of the statement is false because you're like, nah, you don't come to work. That's the false part. However, Mr. Gates gives you the bonus anyway. That should make you happy. The first one should make you happy because he said, hey, if you come to work on Saturday, I'll give you a $100 bonus. And you're like, okay, I'll come to work, and he gives you the $100 bonus. Everything worked out perfectly. You should be happy. On the second one, you shouldn't be happy because you came to work and then he didn't give you the $100 bonus. That's the one that's false. This one, you decided, nah, I'm not going to come to work on Saturday. But then he turns around and gives you the $100 bonus. So that should make you happy, right? So that one is also a true. And then the last situation is when they're both false. If false, then false. That's this one here. Okay, so that is when you don't come to work on Saturday and you don't come to work and you don't receive the bonus. The deal was, if you do come to work, then I'll give the $100 bonus. Well, you didn't go to work, so you shouldn't have been expecting anything. And so that shouldn't make you mad. You'd be like, okay, well, that was the deal. I'm okay with that. So that one's also a true. Which brings you to, I think the next slide shows it. There it is. There's the summary of that, which is also on, I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's also on this one here. There it is in the blue. I don't know if you can see my mouse moving around or not, but that's on that sheet. Where am I at? I'm in here. Okay. And you can see that they are showing right here. That's the only time you get a false, is when it's if true, then false. And it always refer back to this. And they actually call, there's some special terminology here. Whatever wordage is in front of the arrow, which will be after the word if, that's called your hypothesis. And then whatever is after the arrow, which they're calling it statement Q, that is called the conclusion. So I'll be using those words. So the only time you get a false is when the hypothesis is true, but the conclusion is false.